First video of my first channel, Maritime Skipper, where I talk about maritime history, ship history, and, maritime art itself. Today, we are going to be talking about His Majesty's ship Victory, which was one of gun first-rate ship of the line of the Royal Navy older than 1758, and laid down in 1759, and launched in 1765. She's best known for her role as Lord Nelson's flagship at the Battle of... I really don't know how to pronounce this, so I'll try my best. At the Battle of Trafalgar on 21st October 1805. So that was, a bit of introduction of what the ship is and what was its purpose. Today I'll be going down its construction, its early service, some of its battles it has actually been through. Here we go. The construction. In December 1758, Pitt the Elder, in his role as head of the British government, placed an order of the building of 12 ships, including a first-rate ship that had become Victory. So a man named Pitt the Elder decided to make 12 ships, ordered a permit or something, for the building of 12 ships for the British Navy, including a first-rate ship, which is the ship we're talking about, which is called the H.M.S. Victory. During the 18th century, Victory was one of 10 first-rate ships to be constructed. The outline plans were based on the H.M.S. Royal George, which had been launched at Woolwich Dockyard in 1756. The naval architect chosen to design the ship was Sir Thomas Slade, who, at the time, was a surveyor of the Navy. So the architect of the H.M.S. Victory is Sir Thomas Slade, and he was also the surveyor of the Navy. And the outline plans of the Victory was based on the H.M.S. Royal George, another war ship. Carry on. She was designed to carry at least 100 guns. That's a lot, actually. The Commissioner of Chatham Dockyard was instructed to prepare a dry dock for the construction. So a dry dock is like a dock, but like dry, It's like a thing made, and it has like stuff, like if you could think of Titanic's gantries, what they built on it, and then that's like, think of a smaller out the top, and then add like a canal, but like remove all the water from the canal. That's technically what a dry dock is. The keel was laid on the July 23rd, 1759, in the old single dock, century named number 2 dock, and now Victory dock, and the name Victory was chosen in October 1760. In 1759, the 7 Years' War was going well for Britain. Land victories had been won at Quebec and Minden, and naval battles had been won at Lagos and Quileron Bay. So Lagos is where Cambodia and Vietnam is, and I really don't know. And Quebec is in Canada, of course. And I do not know where Minden is and Quileron Bay. It was Annus Mirabilis, a wonderful year, and the ship's name may have been chosen to commemorate the victories. So they chose the Victory in order to maybe commemorate the 7 Years' War, the colonization of the British. There was some doubt whether this was a suitable name, since previous Victory has been lost all on board in 1744. Now that sounds scary. A team of 150 workmen was assigned to construct Victory's frame. So they actually used wood instead of metal, because it was the 1700s, 1800s, it was 1700s. So, they didn't have propellers, steam propulsion. They only had sails, but they only had the wind and Mother Nature to guide them. Sorry. So yeah, and then it was made with wood. So if something caught on fire, that couldn't caught on fire. So yeah. So if you want to ship and it caught fire on this, you will have barely any chance to actually survive, due to rapid increasing flame of fire, and yeah. So 90% of the frame was oak, and around 6,000 trees was used in our construction. Some other uh bark, or types of bark that was used was elm, pine, and fir, together with a small quantity of lignum vitae. The wood or the hull was held in place by 6-foot copper bolts supported by 3 nails for the smaller fittings. Once the ship's frame has been built, it was normal to cover it up and leave it for several months to allow the wood to dry out or season. So I think what it means by that is the wood's hard, not really good. But then when they let it, it's gonna become more hardened and become more durable, I believe. And let's enter the comments if I'm wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. The end of the 7 Years' War meant that victory remained in this condition for nearly 3 years. That's actually a lot, which helped her subsequent longevity. Workers started in autumn 1763, and she was fallen on 7 May 1765, having cost £63,176, which is British money, and 3 shillings, the equivalent of 8.83 million pounds today. On the day of the launch, Shipwright Hartley Larkin, the designated foreman afloat for the event, suddenly realized that the ship might not fit through the dock gates. So there were gates that would prevent water from flooding in the dry dock. And then he realized that the ship might be too big to fit through, which means that the ship could have some damages or some scratches. Measurements at first light confirmed his fears. The gates were at least 9.5 inches too narrow. He told the news to Superior Master Shipwright John Allen, who considered abandoning the launch. Larkin asked for the assistance of every available shipwright, and he would weigh enough wood from the gate to the adses. I do not know what that is. Please tell me in the comments if you do know what it is, for the ship to pass safely through. However, the launch itself revealed significant problems in the ship's design, including a distant list to starboard, which is the right side. So port side is left and starboard side is right. Anyways, and a tendency to sit heavily in the water, such that her lower deck gun ports were only 4 feet 6 inches, 1.4 meters above the waterline. The first of these problems were recertified after launch by increasing the ship's ballast to set her upright on the keel. The second problem regarding the sitting on the lower gun ports could not be recertified. Instead, it was noted in Victory's sailing instructions that these gun ports would have to remain closed and unusable in rough weather. So that means if it was high seas, they would not be able to use those gun ports. This had potential to limit Victory's firepower, though in practice, none of her subsequent actions would be fought in rough seas. So I'm just going to skip some other stuff, due to I don't want this video to actually be too long. So now, it's time for surveys. First, Battle of Usant, main article. And if you go on Wikipedia, you can see the main article of the battle, which is just telling the article. And you know about battle. The H.M.S. Victory is commissioned put on active duty. Commission means put on duty, like I said, in March 1778 under Captain John Lindsay. He held that position until May 1778, where Admiral Augustus Keppel made her his flagship and appointed Rear Admiral John Campbell, first captain, Captain Jonathan Faulkner, second captain. Keppel put to sea from Spithead on 9 July 1778 with a force around 29 ships of the line, and on 23 July signed a French fleet of roughly equal forces 100 miles, 160 kilometers, west of Usant. The French admiral Louis Guilliant commanded the Ouvriers, sorry for my friends, who had orders to avoid battle, which cut off from Brest, but retained no weather gauge. Maneuvering was made difficult by changing winds and driving rain, but eventually battle became inevitable, which means that battle became, predictable, and there's no way you can stop it. With the British more or less in column and the French had some confusion. So this battle, it seems to be against the British, the United Kingdom, which it was a British Empire by then speaking, and the French Empire, I believe. Just enter in the comments again if I am wrong about that. Anyways, if I could find where I was. However, the French managed to pass along the British line with their most advanced ships. At about 12:15, Victory opened fire on Bracknell of 110 guns, which was being followed by Ville de Paris of 90 guns. The British ran and escaped with little loss, but so Hugh Palliser's rear division suffered considerably. Keppel made a signal to follow the French, but Palliser did not conform, and the action was not resumed. Keppel was called motto and clear, and Palliser criticized by the entirety before the affair turned into political argument. Sorry, I just grab some water. The Second Battle of Usa. In March 1780, Victory's Hall was settled, which means is the practice of protecting the underwater hull of a ship both from the corrosive effects of saltwater and biofouling. So they use a copper plates affixed to outside the hull. Continuing on, Victory's Hall was settled, which means was placed with copper with 3,920 seats. 923 seats of copper below the water line to protect it against shipworm, which is, I think, a bacteria that is able to eat through wood. On December 2nd, 1781, the ship, now commanded by Captain Henry Cromwell and bearing the flag of Rear Admiral Richard Campbell, sailed with 11 other ships of the line, a 50-gun fourth rate and 5 frigates, to intercept a French convoy that had sailed from Brest on December 10th. Not knowing that the convoy was protected by 21 ships of the line under command of Luke Aubin, the Buttocks, Comte de Gouchon, Campbell chase when they were sighted on 12 December and began the battle. When he noticed the French superiority, he contented himself with capturing 15 sails of the convoy. The French were dispersed and the gale first returned home. So it looks like the English for the British Empire won. So good job to them. You have the siege of Gibraltar, which is so there was a blockade, I believe, in Gibraltar by the French and Spanish navals, and then I think the British Empire seized it. And then you have the Battle of Cape St. Vincent. Which is quite interesting, which is, oh god, it's lots of paragraphs. It seems to be a huge battle, I believe. If I could see. Interesting, yes. Now, I'm gonna skip 2 battles, sadly, and I'm gonna go to Reconstruction. On the return to England, Victory is examined for seaworthiness and found to have significant weakness in the stern timbers, which I believe is the wood framing of the back. So the bow is the front of the ship and the stern is the back of the ship. He was declared unfit for active service and left anchored off Chatham Dockyard. In December 1798, she was ordered to be converted to a hospital ship to hold wounded French and Spanish prisoners of war. So a hospital ship, you have to help the wounded of any team, even if they're enemies. Yeah. They did that because she was a bit unfit to, remain in war duty. And if she kept being in war duty, there might have been a chance that she was to founder. And then she was a hospital ship, which, helped the wounded or sick. However, on 8 October 1799, H.M.S. Impregnable was lost off Chicot, having run aground on her way back to Portsmouth after escorting a convoy to Lisbon. So Lisbon is the capital of Portugal. She could not be refloated, and so was stripped and dismantled, which means scrapped. So in maritime, scrapped means they just technically destroy the ship, rip the fittings off. It's quite a sad thing to actually see. Now sort of a three-deck ship of the line, the Admiralty decided to recondition Victory. Work started in 1800, but as it proceeded, an increasingly number of defects were found and repairs developed in a very extensive reconstruction. So it went from repairs, some like just working a bit of some areas of the ship to the whole ship being rebuilt, technically. The original estimate was 23,500 pounds, for a final cost of 70,933 pounds. Extra gun ports were added, taking off from 100 guns to 104, and a magazine lined with copper. That's actually quite interesting. I mean, you would think that it would be like steel or metal, but instead they filled with copper. Quite interesting. The open galleries along with stone were removed. Her figurehead was replaced along with her mast and paste scheme changed from red to black and yellow seen today. Her gun ports were originally yellow to match the hull, but later repainted black, giving a pattern layer called the Nelson Checker, which was adopted by most Royal Navy ships in the decade following the Battle of Trafalgar. The work was complete in April 1803, and the ship left for Portsmouth for the following month under her new captain, Samuel Stoughton. So if you see me stop in some videos, I'm just trying to find where I left off, because I'm trying to. If you guys have any questions and I might know what they are, I want to go to a different page and I can see what it means, and then I lose my page. Anyways, continuing on. I'm skipping Nelson Trafalgar, which is two admirals, I believe that yes, there were the two admirals that commanded Victory. You have the Battle of Trafalgar. And then William was the admiral, and then he was warned that he was going to be removed from command. Continuing on, I'm gonna start here. The British frigates which had been sent to keep track of the enemy fleet throughout the night were spotted around 1900 hours, and the order was given to form line of battle. So the Victory set sail for the Mediterranean, and there was going to be a battle starting, and then the enemy fleet was spotted around 1900 hours, which is in military time, and then someone gave the order to form and type of formation for a battle. On the morning of 24th October, the main British fleet, which was outside and sailing parallel some 10 miles away, turned to intercept. Nelson had already made his plans to break the enemy line some 2 or 3 ships ahead of the commander-in-chief in the center and achieve victory before the van could come to the aid. At 0600 hours, Nelson ordered his fleet into 2 columns. 54 winds made it a slow business, and for more than 6 hours, 2 columns of British ships slowly approached the French line before Royal Sauvegarde, the Lee column, was able to open fire on Foxcar. Around 30 minutes later, Victory broke the line between Buxenaer and Redoutable, firing a triple shot at broadside into the stern of the former from a range of a few yards. At 1:15, placed on Victory's quarterdeck that Redoutable attempted to board her, but they were thwarted, which means they were defeated, kind of, they were like held back by the arrival of Alibi Harvey and a 98-ton H.M.S. whose broadside devastated the French ship. Nelson's last order was for the fleet to anchor, but this was countermanded by Vice Admiral Cuthbert Collingwood. Victory suffered 57 killed and 102 wounded. All in all, that's 159 people affected, killed, and or injured. Victory has been badly damaged, and the battle was not able to move under her own sail. H.M.S. Neptune is therefore totaled Gibraltar for repairs. Victory then carried Nelson's body to England, where after lying in state of Greenwood, he was buried in St. Paul's Cathedral on 9 January 1806. So, famous admiral of the Victory sadly died in the war, and he was buried in St. Paul's Cathedral on January 9, 1806. That's very sad, actually. That's very sad. The final years of full Admiralty Ball considered Victory too old and too great to disappear. So she was in too great, this repair to actually repair her to be restored as the first rate ship of the line. And around 1807, she was relegated to second rate with the removal of two 32-pounder cannon and replacement of a middle deck 24-pounders with 18-pounders obtained from other laid-up ships. She was recommissioned as a troop ship. A troop ship is a ship that would carry troops and soldiers to one destination or one war effort. And then, sorry, there was a noise that just spooked me. Continuing on, she was recommissioned as a troop ship between December 1810 and April 1811. In 1812, she was relocated to the mouth of Portsmouth Harbor off Gulfspur for service as a foreign depot, and from 1813 to 1817 as a prison ship. So major repairs were undertaken in 1840, including the fitting of 3 feet to 10 inches, 1.2 meters metal braces along the inside of her hull to strengthen the timbers. So the timber of the frame, they were actually refitted, braced with metal, so they give them more durable, like a very more durable fitting. And then she remained active service for February 1817 when she was relisted as first-rate carrying 104 guns again. That's a good thing. However, condition remained poor sadly, and in January 1822, she was taken to dry dock at Portsmouth for repair slow hull. Reflow in January 1824, she was designated as the Port Admiral flagship for Portsmouth Harbor, remaining in this role till April 30. So I'm going to skip Victorian era and dry dock. Skipping 21st century. Actually, no. So 21st century is what it looked like, of what it looked like, of what was seen like in the 21st century. In November 2007, Victory's then commanding officer, Lieutenant Commander John Skiver, paid a visit to USS Constitution of the U.S. Navy, which is the world's oldest commissioned naval vessel still afloat. He met Constitution's commanding officer, Commander William A. Bullard III, and discussed the possibilities of arranging an exchange program between the two ships, the Victory and the Constitution. Listed as part of the National Historic Fleet, Victory has been the flagship of the first Sea Law since October 2012. Prior to this, she was a flagship of the second Sea Law. She is the oldest commissioning warship in the world and attracts around 350,000 visitors per year in her role as a museum ship. Sorry. The current and largest first commanding officer is Lieutenant Commander Brian Smith, who assumed command in May 2015. In December 2011, Defense Equipment Support awarded an initial 5-year project management contract to BAE Systems with an option to extend to 10 years. The restoring is worth £60 million over the life of the contract and will include work to the masts and rigging, replacement side plane kits, and additional fire control measures. So rigging, which is the ropes how the masts and some other stuff, will be replaced. It is expected to be the most extensive refit since the ship returned from Trafalgar. In our current state, she has no upper mast and minimum rigging. It is expected that it will be over 12 years before these are replaced. Since this contract was placed, the most significant change happened on March 5th, 2012, when ownership of the ship was transferred from the Ministry of Defense to a dedicated H.M.S. Victory Preservation Trust established as part of the National Museum of the Royal Navy. According to the Royal Navy website, the move was heralded by an announcement of a £25 million capital grant to support the new trust by the Gosling Foundation, a donation which has been matched by a further £25 million from the MOD. Here we are, and this is the last paragraph. Victoria has also undergone emergency repair works to prevent the hull decaying and sagging. The hull has been moving at a rate of half of a centimeter each year, about 27 meters over the last 40 years. To combat this, a new prop system was installed over a period of 3 years from 2018 to 2021, which allowed for precise readings of the stresses of the hull and a more even distribution of the stress, which will help preserve the ship. The ship benefit from a 350 million restoration project utilizing Scottish almond and oak trees as wood for the restoration project. As part of this, the Lower Main Masters moved 2012 for conservation. In addition to this, in addition to analysts to assess whether the other two masts will require the same conservation work. So there you have it. That is the end of the H.M.S. Victory. It is still here today. That was the construction. It's what war it was in. It's only service and where it is now. This channel is gonna be kind of like a timeline where we're gonna be talking about ships in the 1700s, and as we go on, we're gonna talk about ships in the 1800s, 1900s, and so forth. I really hope you enjoyed my first video. Remember, please do subscribe to me if you can. I am not forcing at all. Just subscribe whenever you want to. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.